Hello people, yes it's me TFR Wilderness and here's this month's update on my restoration of my G1 Ultra Magnus. Now this video is going to be a bit shorter than some of the previous episodes because I'm basically, what's happening in this particular episode is I'm going over the washing and cleaning process, which I showed you in detail in one of the previous episodes. I think it was episode 4 where I washed the trailer parts. So now that I've got the truck cab parts, all the truck cab all dismantled as you saw last month, I've got the parts all together and I've put them through the washing process. So in this video, all I've done is I've gone over the key points of the washing process, just a quick resume of how it was done, and that's the little video clip that I'm going to show to you now.
Right, so obviously the focus of this month's restoration video is going to be the main focus is going to be the washing and cleaning of the parts. Now, as I've gone through this technique before in some detail in episode number 4 where I did the plastic parts for the trailer, I'm just going to do a quick resume here, just go over it again. I'm not going to show you the whole thing, I'm just going to show you the key points about the washing process. So basically, I've got all my parts here. I've run a sink full of hot water, just put a bit more in it. You don't want it boiling hot, just hot water from the tap, that's just hot enough that you can stick your hand into it without getting burnt. And then obviously plenty of dish soap. Give it a good mix to get it nice and frothy, and then get your parts and then drop them in, and then let them have a really good soak. Right, so you let all your parts soak for a few minutes, and then get a brush, preferably like an old toothbrush or like a fingernail brush or something, and then you get a part, and then you give it a good scrub on all sides. If it's got some hard to reach places, that's what the toothbrush is for, to get into places that are difficult to reach. And then once you've scrubbed the part thoroughly, put it on the draining board, get out another piece and do it all again. Right, so once you've done that, you've got all your parts all nicely cleaned and scrubbed, but they're all, put them out on the sideboard and they're all covered in soapy suds. So to remove the soapy suds, the next step is to run the cold water tap and then just rinse off all the parts individually until they're all done. So there we have it. All the parts have now been swilled out, but they're still wet, so they need drying off. So obviously the final step of the process is to take one of your parts, shake any residual water off it, maybe give it a quick blow off, and then get it onto a towel, and then give it a thorough drying. And there we go, and that's one of many pieces, so just have to get on with the rest of them. And there we are, all the parts are now nice and clean and dry. Yeah, so it's a fairly simple process, as you can see, just a little bit time consuming, but at the end of the day, all these parts are nice and clean. The whole purpose of the cleaning process is to remove any dust or dirt or oil or grease that's accumulated on these toys over the years, because I mean, just handling them with your hands, you get oil and grease on them because you've got natural oils in your hands which come out when you handle stuff. I mean, you know, when you're using the touch screen on your smartphone, you get those smudgy fingerprints all over your smartphone. Well, that's the natural oils in your hands coming out. But it's totally natural, and you get all that stuff off. You get it all nice and clean. You've got to be careful because obviously we're talking like plastic that's over 30 years old, and plastic gets brittle with age, especially if it's been out in the sun, which this toy has, because this toy, as you might be able to see from here, that some of the plastic parts are discoloured because they've got sun yellowing on them, and I need to sort that out, and that's going to be the next job that I need to do. But for now, all the parts is washed, and that's mission complete for today's episode.
So yeah, you've just seen me getting all these bits all cleaned up. They're all nice and clean, but obviously I don't know if you can see it from that piece. No, it doesn't really show up on this in this lighting. Still got the sun fading, the yellowing to sort out on these parts, and as I said previously, because we live in the UK, strong sunlight isn't something that we get very often here, and obviously we're getting into autumn now. Bright, warm, sunny days are at a premium. We ain't going to get many more now before the end of the year. So my method of sticking them, slapping the gel on, sticking them in a Ziploc bag out in the sun isn't going to wash. So next month I'm going to be trying a new technique, which I spoke to somebody at TF Nation about this, and apparently it involves slapping the peroxide gel on the parts, wrapping them up in cling film, and then gently heating them with a hairdryer, because apparently it's the heat that is the active ingredient in making the chemical reaction work that lifts the discoloration out of the plastic, not the action of the ultraviolet rays from the sun. But remains to be seen. I need to do some experimentation to see how that's going to work. So that's basically all I've got to show you this month. It's like I said, it's a short video. But before I go, a little update. Well, not exactly an update, but something I forgot to mention in previous videos. You did notice that when I was buying all the parts to do this restoration, I bought more parts than I needed. I had some parts left over, and somebody contacted me by leaving a message on one of my previous episodes. A guy by the name, I think it's Darren. I think his name is Darren. Thinker is his username, and he asked me if I could bring the parts over to TF Nation, and I did. And I met him and his missus a couple of times at TF Nation, but for the first couple of encounters that I had with him, I didn't actually have the parts on me. So it wasn't until the Saturday afternoon when I was sat in the bar that him and his missus came around, and I was able to pass the parts on to him, and I've got a little picture which I'll show you now. So thank you, Darren. Is it Darren? Mr. Thinker there. I hope the parts will be of help to you in restoring your G1 Ultra Magnus, seeing as you're deciding to do something similar like what I'm doing with my series. So hopefully you'll be able to make use of those parts. And yeah, so that's it for this month. Next month, like I said, we're going to be trying to sort the sun fading out using these alternative methods. Whether that's going to work or not, I don't know. But until then, I've been TFR Wilderness, and I'll catch you all next time. Ta-da.